how am I the witness? Every perception, thought or feeling is known by you. You are the knower of the world through the sense organs, of the sense organs through the generic mind, and of the mind with its activity or passivity by yourself alone. In all these different activities, you stand out as the one knower. Actions, perceptions, thoughts and feelings all come and go. But knowingness does not part with you, even for a moment. You are therefore always the knower. How then can you ever be the doer or the enjoyer? After understanding the I principle as pure consciousness and happiness, always use the word I or knower to denote the goal of your retreat. The I always brings subjectivity with it. It is the ultimate subjective principle I. Consciousness and happiness may possibly have a taint of objectivity in their conception, since they always express themselves in the realm of the mind. When one is deeply convinced that one's self is consciousness and happiness, one finds it as the nameless, whereupon even this namelessness seems a limitation. Giving up that as well, one remains as the I principle, the absolute. When you try to visualize the absolute in you, nothing can possibly disturb you, because every thought or perception points to yourself and only helps you to stand established as the absolute. To become a sage means to become aware of what you already are. In this connection, it has to be proved that knowing is not a function. In all your life, you feel you have not changed, and of all your manifold activities from your birth onwards, the only activity that has never changed is knowing. So both these must necessarily be one and the same, and therefore knowingness is your real nature. Thus knowing is never an activity in the worldly sense, since this knowing has neither a beginning nor an end. And because it is never separated from you, it is your real nature. Just as shining is the real nature of the sun and not its function. Understanding it in this way and realizing it as one's true nature brings about liberation from all bondage. When you reach consciousness or happiness, you lose all sense of objectivity or duality and stand identified with the ultimate subjective I principle, or the absolute. Then the subjectivity also vanishes. When the word pure is added onto consciousness, happiness, or I, even the least taint of relativity is removed. There all opposites are reconciled. All paradoxes stand self-explained, and everything or nothing can be said about it. To know that you are the witness and to be a witness. These are entirely different things, but you should not try to know that you are the knower. Both together are impossible. Your knowership is objectless and can never be objectified. You are always the witness, but you need not attempt deliberately to take the role of a witness. Only take note of the fact that you are always the witness. You are asked to strengthen the conviction that you are the knower in order to counteract the old samskaras that you are the doer, enjoyer. Though the substance of doership and enjoyership is effaced, the samskaras might still remain as shadows. You are only to argue in your mind how you are always the real knower and repeat the arguments over and over again. The time will come when the arguments will become unnecessary and a mere thought will take you to the conclusion. Gradually, you will find that even when you do not think about truth and whether you are engaged or not engaged in activities, you will feel without feeling that you are always the witness and that you are not affected by any activity or inactivity of the mind and senses. Witnessing is silent awareness. Do not try to make it active in any way. Consciousness never takes any responsibility for proving the existence or the non-existence of an object. What is an experience? An experience is composed of two parts. The background, which is the reality itself, and the expression, which is only a superimposition of the mind and senses upon the background reality. In examining any experience to see what it is, we must give up the expression part of it as belonging entirely to the mind and senses, and take only the background, which alone is permanent and real. Thus examined, every experience reduces itself to the ultimate reality. In any experience, the expression is the objective part, and the background the subjective part, or the reality behind it. The test of every experience is to see whether it is strictly subjective or objective. The subjective alone is real, and the objective all illusion. Empty space, though not perceptible to the senses, is certainly conceivable by the mind, so it is really objective in nature. If we take out of empty space this last taint of objectivity, it ceases to be dead and inert. It becomes self-luminous, and it immediately shines as its background, the reality, consciousness. What is the content of the interval between thoughts. Let us examine our own casual statements regarding our daily experiences. For example, we say, she comes, she sits, she goes, and so on. In these statements, coming, sitting, and going are somehow external to her. As such, they do not all go into the make of her. She alone stands unqualified through all time, continuing without a break. So it is this pure she, or I, or consciousness, which shines through and in between all thoughts, feelings, perceptions and states. During this interval between thoughts, one has no thought of the state in which one happens to be. So here one is peace itself, and that is the I in its pure state. Suppose you see a beautiful picture painted on white paper. On closely examining the picture, you will be able to discover some parts of it where the original colour of the paper appears, unaffected by the shades of the picture. This proves to you that the existence of the paper behind the picture as its background. On further examination, you will see that the picture is nothing but the paper. So also, if you succeed in discovering yourself between two thoughts, you easily come to the conclusion that you are in all the thoughts as well.